Hi, this is Chris Slade from AC/DC, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour, your source for all hard rock, heavy metal, new metal, alternative, punk, horror punk, hardcore, rock, and all local bands, with your host, John the Bod, aka the Bodfather.
Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I'm your host, John the Bod, aka the Bodfather. As always, I'm bringing you guys an awesome interview, and today I have none other than Mr. Chris Slade from several bands, actually. AC/DC, Earth Band, Asia, The Firm, and I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Uriah Heep, David Gilmour, Gary Moore, and Tom Jones. That's awesome. How's it going, Chris?
That's great. Great to hear you. I'm in the UK right now.
Yeah, we're like, I think, 4 hours apart.
Yeah, because I think that has the time changed, the hour difference and all that? I think it might have. Anyway, yeah. Who knows?
You've got a project that you're working on right now called the Christopher Slade Timeline. Is that correct?
Yeah, the Chris Slade Timeline. It's on Facebook.
Let's talk about that a little bit. Is this just covering all your music from when you started to now? What's going on? Yeah,
I've been professional now for 50 years. I've been playing for longer than that, closer to 60.
Right.
But I started with Tom Jones in the 60s, and I'm still working, still playing, and there's 50 years of music to choose from. Things like Uriah Heep and Manfred Mann's Earth Band. We did Blinded by the Light, and I'm really enjoying it because it's not just one type of music.
Yeah,
it's there's so many different kinds, and it's quite demanding as a drummer. So I'm really enjoying it, and the band is fantastic.
With the new band that you've got going right now, who all is in this one, Chris?
They're sort of virtually unknown guys. Most of them are young guys. I'm not. But yeah, they're like 25 years old, some of them, you know. But absolutely first class. Absolutely first class. I mean, as good as anybody I've worked with. I know that sounds a big statement, but we've just finished an EP in the studio, 4 tracks, and literally mixed it last night. And even if I say so myself, it sounds awesome. It really does. I'm so proud of it. And we'll do some more in the future, like 4 more, and probably end up with a full album.
Right.
But all the details of the guys and everything are on the Chris Slade Timeline on Facebook. There's also chrisslade.com. There'll be there's not yet, but it's all going to be up there like next week, all the details about it. But at the moment, it's primarily for the UK, but we could work anywhere, really. We're starting some gigs in about a month's time. So, as I say, we've got about 2 months work in Britain, sort of weekends mainly. So really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it looks like you're on your page here. Your tour kicks off Thursday, April the 17th at the Beacon Court, Gillingham, Kent, looks like.
That's right. I'm glad you got it up there. Brilliant. The wonders of technology.
that is for sure. Speaking of that, with the 50 years that you've been in this, man, since it's the digital age, Chris, do you think that it's actually helped musicians, or do you think it's really put a hamper on things as recording wise?
It's much easier these days.
Okay.
With things like Pro Tool and programs like that. There's I talked to somebody the other day, young guy, and I said, wow, that's a great guitar solo. And he said, oh, thanks very much. I said, that's really good. You sound fantastic. He said, yeah, I did it one note at a time. He played one note, recorded it, played another note, recorded it. He doesn't play guitar, in other words, not very well, you know. And so it's now, although it's very time consuming to do that, that is possible. It's about the standard I play, actually.
Yeah, a lot of the local guys that I interview, and especially some of the national bands, they said that I've heard both sides, the pros and the cons of it, but mostly are leaning towards the digital age now because we're so easy to record. Like if me and you were in a band, I mean, I could do a track and send it right to you, and you can add your stuff to it. So it's just right then and there.
That's right. I did it just last week. Somebody sent me a track from Brazil. I went in the studio, played on it, sent it back to him by email. So, that was, it's a great facility. I remember joking with Angus and Malcolm from AC/DC.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, this is quite a long time ago, you realize. And he was, Malcolm was building a recording studio in his house in Australia, one of his houses in Australia. And I said, hey, you know what? With this internet stuff, you could send me the tracks. I'll play the drums on them and send them back to you. And now it's happening,
Well, speaking of AC/DC, they've got a new album coming out supposedly, and they're going on tour. What do you think about that?
Oh, I think they're the best band in the world, in my estimation. Malcolm is certainly the greatest rhythm player ever born. Mm-hmm. That's what I think about him. He makes the drummer's job so easy because he's a rhythm machine, man. Absolutely fantastic. And I look forward to seeing him because I usually see them when they're on the road. I go backstage, say hi and stuff. I really enjoy to see him. It's a great experience, as many of your listeners will know.
You did a phenomenal job in the time that you were in AC/DC, and that's for sure, especially some of the videos I've checked out. Just a great job, Chris.
Oh, thank you.
Chemistry and everything, it all works hand in hand, and people do their own thing. They go in their own separate way, and that's cool. And I know you've been in several bands, but which one out of the group do you like the most? Because you played with Tom Jones, the man himself. Let's talk about these. What was your favorite one, if you could pick one at all?
Oh, wow. No, you can't do that, really. I always use the analogy of your children, I've got 3 kids, I've got 4 grandkids, and you can't choose between them. It's the same with bands, They all have different personalities, and that's it. They have different personalities. Bands have different personalities.
Yeah.
Even within the bands, there are different personalities.
Very true.
Some nice, some not so nice sometimes.
Very true.
But one of the skills of hanging around for 50 years is getting on with people. And you've got to be a people person, unless you've got a really good tour manager that's always at your side.
They do help out some.
Yeah, that's right. A big guy.
Yeah.
Generally. But yeah, you've got to be a people person. And luckily, I am. So, nothing I like more is propping a bar up, chatting to somebody,
Right, yeah. How did you get started, Chris, and how old were you into music?
I got started, my older brother taught me some drums, marching drums, not drum kit. And he's 7 years older than me. He went to school with Tom Jones, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he started me off, and I really wanted to be a drummer. And then sort of the Beatles came along, really got into them. But as I say, I was about 11, and then I joined Tom when I was 17.
Oh, wow.
And I turned professional at 17. And it's been going ever since, and I've been loving every moment of it, to be honest. There's some moments you don't love, but you know what I mean, generally.
Yeah.
And I'm so pleased that I'm able to keep going right now today. I also travel all over the world, playing with some tribute bands who have become friends. So I sort of hitch up with them. I've been to Russia doing that, Brazil. I was in Germany last weekend. I was in Sicily the weekend before doing exactly that.
I
went to Russia 4 times last year.
Wow. Speaking of that, you said Germany last weekend. I had several friends that was over there for a horror convention.
That's it.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah. I take it that you like going to horror conventions?
I was the main draw, a horror convention.
I love horror music. I love horror music. I love horror movies, and I'm really glad that they do have this now. These horror conventions for people to get out and see their favorite people.
Yeah, it was. I had a really great time. Met all sorts of different people, actors. The wrestler Kevin Nash. He used to be Diesel.
Yeah.
He's like 7 foot tall, man. It's unbelievable.
I actually saw the picture with you and him, and I was like, "Holy crap!"
There you go. That's the difference in size. I'm 5'10", you know, he's probably over 7 foot. I wouldn't be surprised. He is massive. Very, very nice guy. Great guy. We got on well, actually. When we sat down.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
They can look at him and say, now you're on my level, pal. How was the music scene when you were coming up? Was it hard to get shows lined up, or was it pretty much fair game?
I joined Tom before he was Tom Jones. The band was called Tommy Scott and Senators, and they were already very established in South Wales, where we grew up. So I walked straight into, you know, we were making, in those days, don't forget, 50 years ago, we were making $10 a night.
Wow.
Each, which is something like, I don't know, $100 a night these days, something like that. And that was only in the area we were in, which is South Wales in the UK. And we did well for maybe a year. And then we started to have offers, if you like, from London. So we tried that and we moved up to London. Our first gig actually was supporting the Rolling Stones.
Oh, wow.
When they had just brought their first record out, their first hit. So we were supporting them in a tiny club in front of like 100 people or something like that. And then after that, we started to starve because we couldn't get any gigs. And that went on for about 2 years, where we just literally lived on food parcels and stuff from folks at home, you know, would mail us food and stuff. Otherwise, we would never have survived. But then after a couple of years, we demoed and recorded It's Not Unusual, which was Tom's first big hit. And then things never looked back, actually, from then on.
With this new group of musicians that you're playing with for the Chris Slade timeline, does everybody in the band contribute with writing some of the new songs, Chris, or how do you guys work this out?
No, it's at the moment we do intend to do original stuff. In fact, I've got a song I want us to do, and I demoed it a long time ago, and I just made a copy of it onto a CD for the guys to listen to. But no, it's AC/DC stuff, Uriah Heep. As I said, there's no writing involved, but we have changed them slightly, and we've added things and taken things out that maybe didn't work quite as well. AC/DC is almost verbatim the way they did it, actually, because you can't mess with that stuff. And we've got two singers. One sings Brian and Bon unbelievably well. If you hear Timeline, you'll hear what I mean. It's unbelievable. It's uncanny. And the other guy, if you like, the melodic singer, does the other stuff from Uriah Heep, Man from Man's Earth Band, Gary Moore, the whole gamut of the rest of the stuff that is not AC/DC. Asia. And once it's an album, in maybe a few years, a full album, or maybe next year, it'll be great. But right now it's just 4 songs, and it'll be on my website very, very soon.
I know you've been all over the place playing shows, but would you prefer clubs or festivals, or does it even really matter? It
doesn't matter. Give me a drum kit to sit behind. I was going to say in front of. That'll be innovative. Yeah, and just give me a kit and 10 people, and I'll play. You know. Right. I just love playing, and I love traveling, and I'm so pleased. Just unbelievably pleased that I can still do it, and to a very high standard, even if I say so myself.
With this tour coming up, what can the fans expect from you guys at the show?
Just a hell of a good time, to be honest. It's over 2 hours long, the set. We headlined a festival last year, actually. We tested the water a little bit last year. We headlined a festival in the north of England, and we had to cut it down to an hour and a half, which was tough for me to find the right blend of songs, you know, and yet get the message across that and not just play AC/DC all night, which is great, but that's not what Timeline is about. And although we headlined over a three day, we were the headline band on the last day. We got voted best band of the festival, the Rock and Blues Festival, and we're very pleased with that. And it was a great gig. And even bikers, because it was mainly a biker thing, that even bikers singing along to Tom Jones's Delilah, you know,
wow.
which was awesome.
with Timeline, what would you say the style of music this is? Is it just everything into one?
Yeah, it's just rock music, basically. You know,
Mhm.
AC/DC and Uriah Heep are not worlds apart. Earth Band is a little more, if you like, poppy, perhaps. Maybe I'm selling it down a little bit, but it's more melodic, shall I say. But it all fits together really well. And even I'm surprised how well it goes together, actually.
What would you say your favorite show has been? And I know you've done a lot, but what would you say sticks out in your mind the most?
Well, the one that sticks out, you mean over the past 50 years?
Yeah, just in general.
A couple stick out, actually. Moscow in 91 with AC/DC to 1 million people.
Wow.
One concert.
That's insane.
Yeah, it was. There's a recording of that. There's a video of it, or DVD, whatever you like to call it. It's out there somewhere. I don't have one myself, actually, but it's on YouTube. If somebody Googled AC/DC Moscow 1991, it was filmed. I think it was Metallica and Pantera, I think, were on the bill. And I also think the Black Crowes. I'm not quite sure, but I think they were.
I think I remember that show, actually. It was called Gods of Metal or something like that. It was a huge tour. This is actually the first time that they actually had a big show over there, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, it started as the Monsters of Rock, actually.
Yeah, Monsters of Rock.
Yeah, that's what it was. And Metallica was on that, and Motley Crue, and I'm trying to think who did the Russian thing, and it was just the people I mentioned, I think. Motley Crue, as far as I remember, Motley Crue didn't do that. Monsters of Rock from 1991, that's it. And that's where Live at Donington came from as well, the DVD. AC/DC DVD Live at Donington, which I played on, and that was number one all around the world 3 times because it came out on video. Then a year or so later, it came out on DVD. Then a few years later, it came out on Blu-ray, and each time it went to number 1.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm very proud of that concert.
Loyal fans right there.
Oh man, I tell you, it was a joy to be in that band. Somebody asked me, what did you do when things went wrong? And I went, nothing ever went wrong. Never. No mistakes on stage, no nothing. Oh, now here's another one that sticks out in my mind. To go back to the 60s, I played Madison Square Gardens in about 1966, 7, something like that, with Tom Jones, with the Count Basie Orchestra.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, with 2 microphones on each corner of a 30-piece big band, and Tom on the house PA. And in the red corner, we've got Tom Jones. In the blue corner, we've got Count Basie. And that was quite something. Thank God people didn't know what a good sound was back in those days. The sound was as good as the Beatles at Shea Stadium. How about that?
You know, I hear a lot of people talking about my favorite time was the 50s and my favorite time was the 60s music because music changes every decade, it seems, and every day, it seems, too. But what would you say your favorite time period was, man, if you can? Probably 70s, 60s and 70s. Don't get me wrong, I've enjoyed every decade. It was, punk came along, that changed things a lot for then us older guys. I thought I was old back then. Never mind now. No, I think probably 60s, 70s. 70s was people were trying everything. They were off the wall ideas from people like Yes and just anything you can think of. The Eagles, for instance. Things just it was wide open. Anything went. Any musical idea, oh yeah, I can see the worth of that maybe, And of course, there's some rubbish ones too. But in general, people were really trying to do their damnedest, do their best to come up with some great music, and a lot did. Any new bands that you like right now that you're listening to? I don't know about new ones. I mean, my son, my youngest son is, actually both my sons are drummers. My eldest lives in Vancouver, Canada, and Jack lives in, his name's Callum, and Jack lives in the UK. He's more of a metal player, so he keeps me up with people like Seven Dust, for instance, things like that. I just had Seven Dust guys on the show, actually, not long ago. Really? Yes, I've interviewed LaJohn, I've interviewed John, and Clint Lowry's going to be a guest on the show, too, here coming up. Oh, brilliant. So, that's great.
Yeah, Morgan Rose is the drummer.
Yeah.
And Jack and I met him quite a few years ago. And just great guys, all of them, actually. You know, we've met them. We've been on their tour bus and stuff like that. And we've seen them at shows. And it's always a pleasure to see them. And they're a great band. Great band.
They've actually got a new CD coming out, April the 12th or the 25th, I want to say. It's an acoustic one that they're doing.
Ah,
Yep.
excellent.
They're also
acoustic. Oh, well, maybe Morgan will go and join somebody else. Oops, sorry.
I think what they want to do is do something a little different. They've done acoustic stuff before, and I like that. I like when bands do that because you don't see a lot of bands stripping down their music and doing acoustically. But if everybody thinks, though, that's how normally a song gets started, from an acoustic guitar.
Yeah, quite often. Quite often. In my case, it's just singing along, going la 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 la. But because I don't play anything else except drums, but
Right.
I can write. I've written quite a few songs actually. I can convey a chord sequence. One thing you'll never see, Angus goes once, he goes, yeah, you know what? Yeah, you'll never see AC/DC acoustic.
That's true. That is very true. You've not.
Or a ballad.
Yeah, I want your opinion on this. To me, when Brian stepped in and took over the lead vocals, didn't it send chills up you when you first heard him singing like Bond? Because, I mean, his vocals, oh my God, it's just to the T as Bond.
Yeah, I think he might have felt that he had to, but, you know, there's obviously huge differences, maybe in the beginning, you know, but there are, you know, there's huge debate going on, you know, always, continually. And that's all people talk about sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, Bond's better than Brian. Brian's better than Bond, you know. Phil Rudd is better than Chris Slade. Chris Slade's better than Phil Rudd.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter a damn, you know.
Exactly.
It just doesn't matter as long as you enjoy the music. That's all it's about. Now you can have favorites, you know. Paul McCartney's better than John Lennon. John Lennon's better than Paul McCartney. You know, it makes for interesting reading or interesting discussion, actually, you know. But the point is to enjoy the music. That's the whole point.
Exactly. Chris, I want to thank you taking time out to do this interview with me today. I really appreciate it, man. I liked your music when you was in AC/DC, and I'm looking forward to hearing some Chris Slade and Timeline, and looking forward to supporting you guys as much as I can on BODS Mayhem Hour, Newber City Radio.
Okay, John. Thanks a lot, man. Brilliant. Great to talk to you, and I hope we can meet. I'll be coming to the States early next year, so
Yeah.
who knows?
How can people get a hold of you to say they like your music, keep up with you? How can they do that, Chris?
I think Facebook, the Chris Slade Timeline, or there's also chrisslade.com.
Awesome. Before I let you go, will you care to do a promo for my show?
Absolutely, of course. I'll do that right now. Hi, this is Chris Slade from AC/DC, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Awesome. Everybody stick around. We got some music coming up. You only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour and Uber City Radio. Thanks, Chris.